Hey YouTube, it's Yugioh, and I'm back again with another Tech Card Tuesday, brought to you exclusively through Geek. For this week's discussion, we have Mind Over Matter, a counter trap card that reads, tribute one psychic monster to either negate the activation of a spell or trap card, or the normal or special summon of a monster, and destroy that card. As most counter trap cards are, this card is quite powerful, and you may be asking yourself, what in the world could I possibly be playing this in that is relevant? And the answer is Ritual Beast. Of course, my personal deck of preference right now. I've been working on it. I've been trying to figure out, the best build. Of course, we have YCS Columbus coming up, the 150th YCS, and I definitely want to make sure I'm prepared. And I wanted to go over two weak points of the deck that I felt needed to be addressed, that I had a lot of problems with. At YCS Chicago, I only lost to Necros, and I only lost to them because they played Denko Sekka. Denko Sekka is a huge problem for the deck because on top of the generic staple trap cards we play, such as Mirror Force, and of course, depending on the player, you could run all kinds of things: Ring of Destruction, Compulse, Bottomless Trap Hole, Mind Crush, whatever you want. Any good trap card you can run in Ritual Beast. It's a very trap heavy deck. And most of the time, some people like to play more spells, but more often than not, it's a very trap heavy deck. And on top of that, just generic stuff, you're also playing Ritual Beast Steeds and Ritual Beast Ambush that are your searchable traps, and that's how you control the game. That's how you, if you don't know anything about Ritual Beast, you search those out and you control the game and you win. That's how you do it. It's a control based deck. And summoning a Denko Sekka pretty much says, nope, you ain't gonna do nothing at all. You can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Unless you have the Solemn Warning, which of course would be great, but it's a one of and you don't always have it. A few other outs, of course, a lot more outs when you go to your turn after. You could attack over it. You can use quick play spells that you have in your hand if they're not set on the field already, obviously, like Book of Moon, or even just normal spells like Raigeki work. But unfortunately, sometimes that's not going to be the case, because once they summon Denko Sekka and they go wombo combo crazy stuff, they can just OTK you, and you're left in a position of, wow, I could have won that if they didn't have Denko Sekka, because I literally had to out to everything else other than Denko Sekka, which I found myself in a lot, especially, like I said, in Chicago. Lost 3 times to Necros playing Denko, and that's all there was to it. I would kill a Denko and be winning again. They'd draw into another Denko, they'd be winning again, and that's all it came down to. It was really unfortunate, and I definitely felt that needed to be addressed. Mind Over Matter is a perfect solution because you can just negate the summon. It's kind of like having an extra warning, except for you can play as many copies as you want to, so it's 1 warning plus whatever Mind Over Matter you want. I personally play 2, really love it. On top of that, it's just really versatile card. For example, the other weakness of this deck is Satellars, and that is mainly because of their counter trap card Alpha, and we don't play any counter traps other than like Warning. We don't have anything that's spell speed that can compete and counteract against Alpha. So once they activate that, you just can't do anything. There's nothing to do about it. And so I've actually found that this card is super helpful. Since I main Mind Over Matter, it really helps game 1. And just the hardest matchup is Satellars, because they, so right off the bat, they're going to have that counter trap card, and it's a super big problem for you to have. It's not really that costly to have to tribute one of your own monsters to mess your opponent up so much, to really disrupt their plays, especially if they have one monster and you're trying to do something. They're like, oh, I'll just alpha it, and then you Mind Over Matter that, then they are losing their own monster and they're not drawing. Initially they would be subbing their monster for a draw, but they don't even get that anymore. They just lost a monster, and you end up winning. You stop everything, whatever they're trying to counter goes through and it works. So this card definitely helps out with that. And then even going into game 2 and game 3, you now have Mind Over Matter, plus I personally still siding wiretaps, so then you just have so much more control. And instead of, I feel like before I was like, dang it, I have to face the Tellers, just do my best game 1 and probably lose. and then go into game 3 and hope I see wiretap. And now I'm like, man, now I have so many options, and if I draw like multiples, then I have so many ways to out their counter trap, and just their other traps. Of course, they're a very trap heavy deck as well, so I just can out all their traps, and I feel so much more relieved playing against the tellers now. It's just ridiculous. I feel relieved playing against anything, because it's Mind Over Matter is almost a solemn judgment. Almost. It doesn't stop monster effects is the only thing that makes it different. And of course, you tribute to psychic rather than pay half your life points, which still, being able to pay half your life points so it's always live is a nice feature. But at the same time, at the start of a game, you don't want to pay 4,000 life points. You know what I mean? Tributing one psychic monster is way better than paying 4,000 life points. I would even say it's better than paying 2,000 life points for a warning. Now, of course, warning is much easier accessibly, but especially once you go into late game and like you start drawing in E-tellies, or you've just had E-tellies, they become dead. Late game E-tellies are just worthless because you've already done everything you needed. Sometimes you can use them to like do extra damage and stuff like that, but most of the time I'm like, I'd rather just have an extra summon or something like that. But another great feature that I found you can do now is you can just E-telly out a monster either on your turn or your opponent's turn. If you do it on your opponent's turn, you can just E-telly out a monster in their standby phase, and then now you just have free fodder for your Mind Over Matter. And especially if late game you push them into a corner, it's like, okay, your turn, you E-telly out a monster, you have Mind Over Matter set or live, then they have one play. This is their last turn to make something work, and you know that, you know how a game develops, and you're able to stop the big play, stop the big thing that matters most, and then they don't have anything after that. And then next turn you just proceed to win. And on top of that, I love the versatility of this card, because I don't particularly like Chaos Trap Hole, which just deals with Denko Sekka primarily, but again, you have to pay 2,000 life points for that, and it's very, very specific, so you can't use it on a lot of things. You can't use it on spells and traps and stuff like that. And so I like the versatility of this card. I've stopped Exceed summons, I've stopped Denkos, I've stopped Urgekis, I've stopped Shadal fusions, just all kinds of cards and effects using this one card. And although tributing a monster doesn't gain me any advantage, I get monsters so easily, and if you play smart, you can set up an ambush play, like, okay, I'm gonna Mind Over Matter whatever their big play is this turn, and then I already have a Spiritual Beast in the graveyard, so now my Elder or whatever it is I send, my Tamer is in the graveyard, and now my ambush is live, and you can still develop a lot of plays, and you end up playing a little bit differently, but I just really, really love having the comfort of a counter trap in the deck, because I felt like there was the one thing that was truly missing that brought the whole thing together. I've been playtesting it for quite a while now, or not quite, a few weeks now, and I really, really like it so far. I just went to the locals the other day, and I played against 2 Necros, a Gaga, and something else. What was it? I don't remember. It was a meta deck, though. The Gaga was very strange. It was a very strange deck. But, what was it? 2 Necros. Oh, and a Clifford deck. I played against Clifford deck. And Mind Over Matter helped me tremendously. Like I said, definitely I stopped, I think just that day, I stopped 2 or 3 Raigekis. It was super, super useful. I really, really loved it. And I didn't feel like I was, like, even when, like, there were times where I was like, oh, man, I kind of wish I didn't draw this. Later on in the game, it proved itself quite useful. So I know there is a bit of consistency issue with this deck, but it also has a great recovery aspect as well. And so with this deck, I find a lot of times you'll be drawing like a bunch of traps and stuff, and you're like, oh, I'm not really progressing. And then once you get that, like, that first step, then you just explode. Once you have all those traps ready and you can do whatever you want, you just push with all your force. And you really win games you're not even supposed to. One of the games I won was just like triple MST macro and like Laura or something. It was really, really terrible, and I ended up winning that game just because this deck is so nutty. But it's definitely very skill intensive, and you have to play it right. And if you choose to play Mind Over Matter, you have to play a little bit differently. You have to make sure you have a psychic on the field, and you have to make sure that if you do choose to make Mind Over Matter live, that you have an ambush and you're going to be setting things up to be live, or you have like just a different play like a Laura or Wind in your hand or something. You have to make sure that there is something for continuation, but being able to just stop almost whatever, except for monster effects, almost whatever. I really, really love it. I would love to know what you all think. Definitely test it out and let me know how you all like it. If y'all have your own different alternatives to Dankos or Satellas in this particular matchup or whatever, please let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you have to say. I'm definitely trying to get ready for YCS 150 in Columbus. Very, very excited. Of course, I will also be adding the new Ritual Beast, and if you're going to be there, definitely let me know. I'd love to see you all. As always, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. This has been Yugioh. Peace out.
This video is brought to you by the Geek Network. Geek provides a home for your YouTube channel to grow and prosper, while earning you a little cash along the way. We have partnership deals to bring you free production music from Audio Micro, Epidemic Sound, and Position Music, where many films get their music. We also have some unique sponsorships to bring out the inner geek in you. Check the description below to sign up today.